Is the M2010 ESR the best sniper in Battlefield 6? At least I absolutely love this weapon. Check this out. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Today we're talking about the M2010 ESR, one of the first sniper rifles you can unlock in Battlefield 6, and honestly one of the best starting weapons in the entire game once you get used to it. I've got two builds for you in this video. The first one, the one you'll see in the background clips, focuses on making the M2010 more versatile so you can handle both mid and long range engagements with ease, and it has a pretty good ADS speed. The second build uses a straight pull bolt, which makes the weapon easier and faster to use, especially if you like to stay scoped in between shots. Why is the M2010 ESR so good? The M2010 ESR is a high velocity bolt action sniper rifle that feels incredible once you understand how to position yourself and use its sweet spot mechanic. Just like other snipers in Battlefield 6, the M2010 has a sweet spot range, which means you can one-shot enemies to the chest within a specific distance. For the M2010, that sweet spot range is between 75 and 120 meters. If you position yourself properly within that range, you'll absolutely melt enemy players. You can see it in the background gameplay. Once you get a feel for when the enemies are inside that sweet spot zone, the M2010 becomes an absolute monster. It's all about smart positioning and map awareness. So we gotta talk a little bit about the rangefinder. There's a big debate about the rangefinder attachment in Battlefield 6. It's a cool concept. It automatically calculates range as soon as you fire, making it easier to hit stationary targets at long distances. If you bind the rangefinder to your fire button, it reads the range instantly, which sounds great for long range sniping. But here's the catch: once you use it, it actually becomes harder to lead your shots against moving targets, which is most of your fights in multiplayer. Well, not most, but it is a big portion. After using it for a while, I ended up removing it, and honestly I don't miss it at all. The bullet velocity of the M2010 is already amazing. With the right builds, it fires at 1000 meters per second. At that speed, you don't need a rangefinder to land long range headshot. Once you learn the bullet drop, it feels natural and very consistent. The big down part, because of the rangefinder, is trying to lead your shots, because it automatically finds the range at the range you are looking at, which is not the actual target but is somewhere a building behind the target, or it could be up in the sky, so you're going to be completely missing your shot with the rangefinder. Without the rangefinder, you have a lot more consistency, and once you learn the bullet velocity, you're going to be landing a whole lot more shots than you do with it. How to play the M2010 ESR. The M2010 isn't great for small maps or chaotic close range fights. It shines in open, large scale maps where you can position yourself safely and control sidelines. Personally, I've had the best results on Liberation Peak, Operation Firestorm and Merrick Valley, maps that reward distance, positioning and patience. If you're playing smaller maps, I'd actually recommend switching to the SV98, which has a closer sweet spot and performs better in tight spaces. But when you're playing on the right map, the M2010 feels smooth, fast and deadly. It also has a faster rate of fire than the SV98 and the PSR, which makes it much more forgiving if you miss a shot. And if you add a straight pull bolt, you can stay scoped in between shots, which makes it easier to chain kills or follow up on hit markers. So talking a bit about the strengths, it's got the one-shot kills between 75 to 120 meters. With the right build, you have 1000 meter per second bullet velocity. It has a faster rate of fire than the SV98 and the PSR, and it's very versatile, can handle both mid-range and long-range engagement. Now, the weaknesses of this weapon is that it struggles on smaller maps with close quarter fights. It requires good positioning. You want to take advantage of that sweet spot mechanic, but it requires you to sit back a little bit, and the rangefinder can be situational. Great for stationary targets, not so good for moving targets. Now, the build philosophy I have. For first build, focuses on versatility, good bullet velocity, consistent ADS speed, and reliable handling at mid-range distances. This setup lets you position and adjust quickly while still hitting hard at range. The second build uses a straight pull bolt, which makes it easier to spam shots at or re-engage quickly after firing. You'll stay scoped in, keeping your sideline on target perfectly for aggressive recon player holding mid-range angles. So the final thoughts. The M2010 ESR is an amazing all-around sniper rifle once you understand its strengths. It's easy to overlook early on, but with the right setup and the map choice, it can compete with and even outperform the higher tier rifles later in the game. It rewards good positioning, patience, and precision. Once you master the sweet spot and get used to leading shots without the rangefinder, you'll start landing insane headshots and chest kills across the map. If you're enjoying these Battlefield 6 weapon guides and want to see more sniper builds, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Now let's get into the builds. So this is the first build. This is the build that I by far use the most in multiplayer, but also in RedSec for the RedSec enjoyers. So we're starting off with the scope, 8x scope. I stuck around between the 8x scopes and the 10x scopes. I actually like both 8x scopes. But I think the majority will probably enjoy the Lurt 8x scope a bit more than the NFX 8x scope. And the 10x scope is really clear as well. 6x scopes, they work great as well. I just personally didn't like them that much. So the 10x and the 8x scopes. Then I had a red laser. Then you would wonder, why would you want a red laser? Well, sometimes there's a player pushing on you, and what you can do is put a quick hipfire bullet into that player, which will increase the chances if you use a red laser. You can switch to your pistol and actually take out a player pretty quickly. So that's why I added the red laser on this weapon. Then we have the flash hider. You can also go with the 20-point suppressor on this build. There's still 10 points left, as you can see. So keep in mind you can go with something extra on this build. I didn't do that personally because I really like the build that I had right now, and I couldn't really find a good way to spend those extra 20 points besides potentially using a green laser, which I didn't want because I didn't want the gun to be too visible, or you can go with a suppressor. I personally went with the flash hider. Then the extended one, this is kind of a must. It increases the projectile velocity. It goes from 800 to 1000, making it really a lot easier to hit the longer range shots. Then we have the angled grip, which slightly increases weapon draw speed and enables slightly faster transition to aim down sight. Overall, making this gun just a little bit more fun to use and a little bit faster. You can play a little bit more aggressive, and it overall feels a whole lot more smooth to use this. Then I went with the 8 round extended mag, which goes at the cost of movement speed while aiming down sight. So basically your strafing speed slows down a little bit. It's not a whole lot, but it is there. And then we went with the penetration shots. You could go with the long range shots, but it doesn't actually, what I thought it would do is improve the projectile velocity. It improves the control, which is not really a big issue. So it is more important to be able to get collateral damage, which is a whole lot more fun. You can pull off triple collaterals with this build because of that penetration damage. So there it is. There's the first build of the M2010 ESR. And here is the second build. So still using the same scopes, the 8x to the 10x good. We got the flash hider, which we still got. We got the extended for that projectile velocity. And now the big changes is that we got rid of the angled this one and we moved it to this one. It goes at the cost of ADS accuracy while moving. Well, usually when you're sniping, you need to create the habit of standing still while shooting, so that's why the angled is perfectly going to be fine as well for this build. And then we still have the 8x extended mag, we still have the penetrations, and then we got the ADS bolt, basically the straight pull, allowing you to stay ADS'd while shooting. It's really good if you get hit markers and you quickly want to do a follow-up shot, or if you want to learn where your bullet is traveling, you can stay ADS'd and you can instantly shoot again rather than scoping out and then readjusting again and kind of having to guess where you were shooting the time before. So the straight pull is actually quite a good extra option. So there you go. Those are the two builds. Hopefully this video was useful. Subscribe if you haven't yet to the channel, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.